Hello, my dearies. It is Thursday, April 10th in the United States and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code WhatChaos and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game in Boston, Massachusetts. My name is David Bean. I sit beside Pete Blackburn, and over across the room is Sean DePaz. Sean, I hope you had a great night, and I think you did.
Yeah, I did have a great night. I hope you had a great night, Shirt Brother Pete.
I did have a great night. I'm mad that you stole the Shirt Brother comment because me and Sean showed up today wearing the same damn shirt.
Wow. Pretty nice cool. Hoodie. It's a nice hoodie.
How are you, David?
I feel great. I feel like I'm a trendsetter because famously I wore that shirt on yesterday's show. And now a lot of people, the only two people I know, are wearing it. So I feel like I, with the help of Seth, have influenced.
And Ovi.
And Ovi. Yes, who can forget Ovi's role in that? On this shirt, when all the merch was getting made up, Sean and I discussed, like, is it an item that you necessarily want to have? Is it a big deal to have the thing that says $8.95 when, like, that number is ever changing? And we didn't know the answer.
It doesn't say $8.95.
Yes, it does. And then the stuff arrived, and we...
On the sleeve.
You'll get there. And then the stuff arrived and put it on. And the answer is, yes, I want that shit. That's like a top 3 sweatshirt I have now.
It's a very cool sweatshirt. The $8.95 is just a patch.
But so the T-shirt that we got is $8.95.
Yeah, I think this has more staying power than the T-shirt.
That I agree with.
This is an incredible sweatshirt.
And it has the yellow laces, which is a nice little detail I appreciate.
And what I can tell you is that that's the biggest single merch day an NHL player has had. On Sunday, Alex Ovechkin, which makes sense because I don't know if there was like Jake Ottinger has a huge game. Everyone's like, damn, are there Jake Ottinger t-shirts I can get?
Yeah, I don't think the entire world is just like rushing to get that kind of stuff. I will say, I'll save it for later in the show. Do like a little reveal because there's an item that we're going to be talking about that convinced me to buy another item.
I got to talk about this item that was sent from our friend Clubbers.
Upside
down. No, our Utah Hockey Club. It's a bear towel. And Utah has been amazing with their merch. We will discuss that in a few minutes. But Pete, first, can you tell the folks what's on the show?
Would definitely love to do that.
Towel.
It's a great towel. I like that towel.
It's like a microfiber.
Plenty of towel talk today on the show. But on the show, strength. With 97. That's so ridiculous.
Totally knew what that said.
Big night for returns, strong returns from players wearing 97.
You got it.
Connor McDavid, Kirill Kaprizov, and those weren't even the best returns of last night. We'll get to that later. Sheet. Offer sheet talk. You're going to get it today. One particular player.
It's not who you think it is.
It's not Evan Bouchard. We're going to talk about...
No, it wasn't going to be Evan. It absolutely is who you think it is. But
I don't know. If you didn't watch hockey last night, you might not know who it is.
No, there's been talk about a certain player getting offer sheeted, and there's been pushback on he's not getting offer sheeted. So today we will say he's for sure getting offer sheeted.
Love that. We're going to be joined by Frank Corrado on the Montreal Canadiens. He is the Montreal Canadiens color commentator for TSN. He is one of my favorite broadcasters across the entire National Hockey League. He is unbelievable. A rising star in sports media. I'm very excited to talk to him about the exciting and way too likable Montreal Canadiens. And finally, merch moment. What's about we're going to go around the league and merch?
We're going to have a merch moment where it's part of the show where we discuss merch, because there's a lot of things that are happening right now in with merch that I think affect teams. Will I say karma? Because some, like Capitals, for example, something really good was put out into the ether yesterday. Blues, maybe not as great.
Yeah.
Colorado doing something interesting.
It's about respect.
We're gonna
it's about honor
with a 2 in it. Let's begin the show though by saying Pete said the other day that like this is kind of the last gasp of craziness that you get to see in hockey before the big boys have to start acting like big boys and behaving. And last night was an interesting one because some big boys came back, played really well, but we still got an absolutely ridiculous night of hockey because people be scoring. Hockey players in particular. Scores of the games last night. 4-3 in overtime, 8-5, 8-7 in overtime, 4-3 on a buzzer beater, 4-3. And headlined, I will say, by Kirill Kaprizov returning, Joel Eriksson-Ek returning for the Minnesota Wild, and them putting together a combined 6 goals, 4 of which came from Joel Eriksson-Ek, in an 8-7 win over the San Jose Sharks, in which Macklin Celebrini scored a hat trick.
So many goals. So many hat tricks. There was 4 or 5 hat tricks last night.
A lot of hat tricks last night.
Because Tyson Forster had a hat trick. A guy that we're going to talk about in a little bit. Maybe an offer sheet candidate had a hat trick.
Yep.
Crazy night of hockey.
Connor Brown had a Connor Brown hat trick, which is really when Connor Brown scores
one
goal at all. So he had a Connor Brown rooster and a half.
That's right. This has to be like the craziest, highest average total for goals in an NHL game over the past 48 hours, because even Tuesday night's games were crazy.
Bruins put up
7-1 game, you had a 7-6 game, you had a 6-5 game, you had a 7-2 game. Shit has been crazy over the past 48 hours.
But do you think it's trending towards crazy or settling or trending towards rumpus time being over? Because there was still so much rumpus time as well last night.
Yeah, no, I think this is a last gasp of rumpus time and guys trying to inflate their numbers.
Oh, not bad.
We got contract year guys. Guys are trying to inflate their numbers, get those goals up. Cutter Gauthier is like now around 20 goals.
Huge shout out to Cutter Gauthier. He's at 19 goals, which is tied for 131st in the league. So that doesn't sound impressive. But given how he started, and that is true. Given how he started, there was talk that he might never score a goal in his NHL career.
I was calling him Cutter Gauthier.
That's right. You were calling him that.
Yeah.
That was you remember that, Sean?
Yeah.
Remember how Pete was calling him that?
Constantly.
Yes. You were calling him. You were prank calling him.
Yeah. I've met Cutter Gauthier. Did you know this?
I know. I did. Yeah. You were. Yeah.
At Four Nations, the final.
Yeah.
I just ran into him at the concourse in Boston.
Yeah.
And I was like, Cutter. And he said, who were you? And then that was it. Pretty cool.
And he disappeared because he was a ghost.
He was
He wasn't actually there.
He didn't even respond. He's a ghost.
That's what happened when
You ever seen The Sixth Sense?
Yes.
Like, people don't talk to Bruce Willis because he's a ghost.
He is a ghost. You know, I mean, Donnie Wahlberg is practically a ghost. He's emaciated in that movie. That's the skinniest I've seen anybody in a movie.
He hadn't hit those Wahlburgers yet.
That's right. He hadn't been eating them. Remember when I met Tage Thompson? He vanished into thin air as well. I kid. He stayed in front of a coffee machine, struggling so much to make hot chocolate. And that was when I went on my phone and was like, can I do a jersey assurance exchange? Send back Seth Jones and somehow get Tage Thompson.
Wait, we never got into the jersey assurance update yesterday.
Okay, I'll be real with you. Jersey assurance update. I got sent back a thing from Fanatics that said, while you are within your 90 days, you can get a new jersey if the player is traded or leaves within 90 days
of purchase.
However, you need to fill out jersey assurance within 14 days of that happening, which I will be very straight up with you. Fucking fair.
You didn't read the fine print.
It is fair, yeah.
No. Not only did I not read the fine print, and it really was a fine print thing, if I'm being honest, but jersey assurance, in my experience, should not be a game of dragging it. Like,
Yeah,
we did
right.
not drag it out. We didn't discuss it at all on the show. We didn't think about it. We didn't weigh options. We didn't poll people. We didn't
You didn't have a whole
travel
scheme about
north
how it
of
could carry into like next year.
We didn't do any of that, and we shouldn't do any of that. People shouldn't do any of that because they shouldn't have time to do it. I like the idea of you're going to give up that jersey quick. Who are you getting?
Yeah.
Like maybe a little like gun imagery.
Yeah.
Like, who's it going to be?
Gun to head. Who's your next player?
That's a fine in the NBA now.
Yeah. Not a grenade.
Not a grenade.
So I sent back something saying,
Please.
yo, great on ya. I didn't try to flex any muscles or anything. I just said, I am a loyal Fanatics customer. And I would say, like, so far, Fanatics with NHL, I'm a
Good job.
supporter.
The haters are sick.
The haters are having a bad
the
time.
haters are silent.
The haters are silent. They're
they
ghosts.
are ghosts. Like
So I
Cutter
said-
Gauthier.
I said, if there's anything you can do, great. If not, I'll do a better job of reading it next time, because there will be a next time, because I hope that this is not the last time we find ourselves in a jersey assurance thing. That would be boring as hell.
Quite possibly the funniest outcome to like a months long saga. Is just who should I get? Who should I get for like 3 months? And then it's you can't get anybody because
Waited too long.
you had to make your decision 2 months ago.
At least it's like you still have a solid Blackhawks Winter Classic jersey.
Yes, it's still good. On the Cutter Gauthier thing, 4 goals his last 2 games, including the OT winner against the Flames last night. So very good on him. We love it. Connor McDavid, 3 assists in his return last night.
Mhm.
Connor Brown with the not quite buzzer beater. It left enough time for like one last possession for the Blues, but McDavid back. That's a sigh of relief. Was really good. Was probably the best player in that game, which I will take. Corey Perry got attacked by his non-former teammate, Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington tried to kill Corey Perry.
Yeah, it was a wild night on Twitter for me because, like, obviously I backed Corey Perry in that situation. Corey Perry skated into Jordan Binnington's head while he was laying down on the ground. Now, some might argue his head shouldn't have been there.
Shouldn't be sleeping during games.
Stand up on the job.
Yeah. Dusty Baker.
So I think you can make the case that Corey Perry deserved the couple of punches that he got to the back of the head from Jordan Binnington. And to be fair, I gave Jordan Binnington credit. It's the first time that he's ever tried to start shit when he wasn't down by like 4+ goals.
Yes, true. He did it first period. Got it. But the first person I did think of when I watched that was you. I jumped to my phone. I texted you. I tweeted about it. And all's well that ends well. Nobody got hurt.
No, that part's true, but Ryan Suter scored a goal. Like, that is horrible outcome.
It led to a shorthanded Ryan Suter goal, which again made me think of you because I was like, this is the stupidest thing that can happen.
It is like, I described it as my personal 9/11.
Jordan Binnington doing something to Corey Perry,
That
resulting
leads to
in
a Ryan Suter goal.
Yeah,
I said it literally only could have been worse had that Ryan Suter goal been assisted by Ian Cole.
Oh, no, if Ian Cole assisted that, I'd be like, hey.
It'd be really impressive because he wasn't playing in that game, but
Could have been. Guys played for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
The only real highlight of that game that we'll show is the end of the game where, as the players were walking off, somebody was waiting. One of the scratches. Who is that?
that's your MVP, folks. And he looks great.
Holy
he looks unbelievable.
Fuck, that man needs a rocks glass in his hand so bad.
What is he holding? Is that a towel? What does he have in his hand?
I mean, if you're looking at his hands, good for you.
Yeah,
the
it
hand
looks
on
like
the
a-
pocket.
Oh, I think it's a beanie.
Oh, okay. Unbelievable. Yeah, I agree with you. He definitely needs like an old fashioned there. That would be like, as somebody who just finished Mad Men. Oh,
that, of course, is a dimly lit Leon Draisaitl waiting for his guy and just giving him a nice little smack to get him going. I'll say, last night I got a little bit of the like, what are we worried about here? McDavid's back. They're already beating teams that win 12 games in a row. They're going to be fine. But we'll I'm sure discuss that plenty coming up. The one I want to really talk about is Matthew Knies. Hat trick in a Maple Leafs victory, and that gives him 29 goals and 55 points on the season. In 74 games. This man is 22 years old. He is a 6'3" left wing, and He's from Arizona.
The pride of
This
Scottsdale,
checks
Arizona.
a lot of boxes for a lot of people. Did you know, you were saying before the show you didn't, he is going to be a restricted free agent this summer, which means teams, if they want to, could submit offer sheets.
I also was saying before the show, what is that?
An offer sheet, it was a good question that you asked. An offer sheet is something that can be submitted to a restricted free agent in which a team says, this is the contract we present you. If you sign this, you get the contract and you come to our team provided your existing team does not match this very contract within 7 days. And if the team matches the contract, it means they keep the player and cannot trade them for 1 year. If the team declines, the player goes to the new team and receives draft pick compensation for that player. It happened notably with the St. Louis Blues doing it to players that escape me from, I think, an Eastern
a team that nobody really cares about.
That's an under-discussed, possibly Arizona. No, it's anyway. For the players were inconsequential. It made no impact. Everything was totally fine.
Yep.
The compensation that was received was flipped for some very well used and carefully thought out double retention on a player who is playing a lot. Okay? So that's just a recent example. Everybody's still with me? What we were thinking about, and we're the first to consider this, would a team maybe submit an offer sheet to Matthew Knies of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I will say emphatically, Matthew Knies is getting offer sheeted this offseason.
You've learned very quickly about this offer sheet process.
It's crazy. I am a sponge. And I am soaking up the fact that is absolutely happening. Matthew Knies, he may be a Maple Leaf next year, but it's because, if that's the case, it's because the Maple Leafs matched an offer sheet that was given to Matthew Knies in the offseason.
Okay, so our dear friend Nick Alberga bumped this from last week during the game. Matthew Knies is not getting offer sheeted. There's no question Knies wants to remain a Leaf for the foreseeable future. I'll jump in there and say parenthetically, as a former reporter, you don't know that.
You're right. Sure. And as somebody who's new to offer sheets, Matthew Knies can still get offer sheeted if he wants to be a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Correct. Playoffs are the focus right now, says Alberga, but when contract talks escalate, it seems like a mid-range deal may be the end result. Okay, I have since remembered what the offer sheets were last year. It was Philip Broberg was signed to, I believe, a $4.9 million AAV that his team, which is escaping me, could not match unless they moved a lot of money out. And Dylan Holloway was signed to a, I believe, $2.9 million AAV that his team could have matched, but it was pretty rich for their blood. In hindsight, $2.9 million a year for Dylan Holloway is like the third best contract in the league.
Yeah.
That is neither here nor there. Toronto has, I believe, $24 million in cap space for this offseason. They have to sign Mitch Marner. They also, of course, would hope to sign Matthew Knies.
John Tavares.
Johnny who?
Right. I forgot.
John Tavares, who
not the lacrosse guy,
is having an unbelievable career year. Or not career year, contract year.
And quite frankly, has captain experience. So might be ready to take the next step in his career.
That's right.
I can't wait to post this video on YouTube. So they've got to figure out their priorities. So they want leadership. The leadership would be Mitch Marner. Guy scores big goals. Four Nations.
Famously.
Ever heard of it?
When the lights are bright, Mitch Marner shows up.
That's right. So the big game player, you got to pay Mitch Marner and make him the highest paid player in the league. That should be about $22 million of that cap space, right?
I mean, there is legitimate talk about Mitch Marner becoming the highest paid player in the league, which is...
All right. Jokey tongue-in-cheek time over?
Yeah.
Rantanen kind of fucked that whole thing up that was like the last shot at somebody else becoming the highest paid player in the league.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
He could maybe get $14 million.
Marner?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially considering how many desperate teams there are going to be this summer.
Also, let me be the first to report, cap is going up.
It's true.
So anyway, offer sheet on Matthew Knies. What does it look like? Let's say Knies coming off a 30-goal season, second contract. You say, all right, short-term deal that gives him, let's say, $5 to $6 million a year. Someone else can come in and just say, fuck it, we're giving him 9.5.
Right.
And that the compensation would be high. And going off of last year's compensation,
it's important to explain the compensation factor because it is not straight AAV.
Correct. Sometimes GMs don't even understand that.
I don't even know how I understand that since I'm just finding out about offer sheets today.
That is true. Okay, the AAV on offer sheet compensation is calculated by total money divided by years, which is normally how AAV is calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and here's the new wrinkle, not new, it's how they've been doing it, or 5. It's the Shea Weber rule because the Flyers, I believe, tried to offer sheet Shea Weber, and they did some like big kind of phony baloney-ish contract that made it so like maybe they could have stolen Shea Weber. So people said, we're getting rid of that. If you're going to give this huge contract, we'll calculate the AAV by dividing total money by 5. And when you pay the player on your books, it will be the normal AAV. But for purposes of determining what you surrender as compensation to the other team in draft pick form, it's going to be by 5. So the number, instead of saying like, let's say instead of it being like $7 million a year, will be like $12 million a year. And that means that you're going to have to give up more draft picks. Now, in the case of Broberg and Holloway, these were both short-term contracts, so they didn't have to worry about the 5 thing. The 4.9 is 4.9. The 2.9 is 2.9. So in the case of Knies, I'm thinking 9.5 times 2. And that is an awesome contract for Knies because he gets another bite at the apple in a couple of years coming off a $9.5 million contract. That per last year's compensation chart would be 2 firsts, a second, and third round picks. But $9.1 million per last year's compensation chart would be a first, second, and third round pick. So let's say cap goes up, everything goes a little higher. $9.5 million, we'll say, probably is a first, second, and a third round pick. If you are a team trying to poach Matthew Knies, would you give up a first, second, and a third?
Yes. I believe 9.5 is 2 first round picks. Looking at Puckpedia.
Correct. Yep, yeah. I got that wrong. Right, I think I said that right.
You did. You said 9.1.
Yeah, you're right.
But you said a first, a second, a third. I think it's 2 firsts, a second, and a third.
You did say that for initially.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I do think that I would do that. And yes, it's a high price to pay, but you are getting a stud. Matthew Knies is a stud. And if you're a team that is, there are plenty of teams right now that are just looking for like one more stud player to add to the mix for like their future. You know that you have that. So I would surrender those draft picks. And it's kind of like the trade deadline approach where there are teams that overpay and they know that they're overpaying to get the guy that they want and they're fine with it. And a lot of the times that just works out. And especially when you're talking about a guy who's young, who can be a part of your future for a long time, I would do it. And the other part here to consider is like, consider a team like the Utah Hockey Club.
They're the number 1 team on my list, but go ahead.
If you're a team like the Utah Hockey Club and you look at Matthew Knies and you say, we can offer sheet him here and either get Matthew Knies for a package of solid compensation that like you might not miss as a young team.
And we'll say it's 1, 2, and 3. That's right. What it will say.
1, 2, and 3, right?
No.
All right, 1, 2, and 3. I definitely do that.
I'd say you go to the top end of whatever that tier is and pay whatever that is. So if it's, let's imagine it's $9.5 million and you give up a first, second, and third. Go on.
So you put in that offer for Knies, and there's people in the chat, there's Maple Leafs fans that are all over Twitter saying, give him a blank check. We keep Matthew Knies at all costs. Sure, if that's your plan and you want to match that, go for it. You know what that does for the Utah Hockey Club? It frees up Mitch Marner. if the Leafs want to keep Mitch Marner, it is going to become exponentially more difficult if they have to pay out the ass for Matthew Knies.
So that's a nice little okie dokie pull.
Right.
You make it so Knies is going to cost a ton of money no matter what, whether on your team or on their team. In order for them to keep him, they have to pay that money, and then you then take the other guy. It's a very smart maneuver. I would do that if I'm the Utah Hockey Club.
Definitely.
What do they have to? I mean, respectfully, Kyler Yamamoto is playing on their second line right now. You think they could not use a 30-goal scoring wing when you have young defensemen and young forwards on the way? Like real blue chip prospects. They are going to be good in as far as that is concerned for a little while. They've got the pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, Sean has made this point many a time about the Buffalo Sabres. They don't need prospects. They don't need picks. You do have to replenish at some point, but now is not the time. Go get the good player.
The problem with the Buffalo Sabres is they currently do not have the picks to qualify. They do not. Puckpedia has a nice breakdown of what teams have the assets to offer sheet at certain frames, and the Sabres anywhere between 6.8 to 11.4. The Sabres do not have the picks to offer sheet Matthew Knies.
Which pick is missing? Their second or
I don't know. It doesn't break it down like that.
There's also, I mean, if they're a pick away, you can go recoup the pick.
But you got to get your pick
own.
back.
Yeah.
Famously, that's what the St. Louis Blues did last year.
They do not have their second round pick in 2026, the Sabres.
Okay, so and the 2026 of it all is the other point I wanted to bring up. You are surrendering your 2026 first round pick. And if you are a team that might not make the playoffs, and especially might finish bottom 11, which gives you a chance to get to the first overall pick, is that a huge risk that you are taking? And I say that is a very, very big risk for the three teams that I think make most sense to offer sheet Matthew Knies: Utah Hockey Club number 1, Boston Bruins number 2, Buffalo Sabres number 3.
That 2026 pick, the Sabres just shipped out in the second round pick. They shipped it out in the Dylan Cousins trade. So
I don't believe the Bruins have their second round pick.
They currently have the picks.
They have
they don't have their second round pick this year, I don't think.
Okay. All right. So Bruins in the running. It would
I'm sorry. They have two second rounders, but maybe not their own. Yes, correct. Go on.
It would be a risk if you're the Bruins, I think. But is it a risk worth taking, especially knowing when we had this discussion with Felger and Maz yesterday. It's like the Bruins are not gonna be good next year, but I don't think that they're going to be bottom of the league bad.
I think I agree with that. I think that just given the general mandate of like you're not allowed to slowly rebuild, you have to still be competitive. Bruins, by the way, I should note, also have the Maple Leafs first round pick in 2026. So if that can. That probably is not going to turn into Gavin McKenna, but I don't know. Like they can wrap their heads around. At least we're keeping a first round pick. If you have 2 first round picks next year and you turn one of them into stealing Matthew Knies, ooh, I would love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Boy, if those jerseys would not adorn this set. One on each side, one behind Sean, 3 Matthew Knies.
Sean, do you have the list of teams that are currently eligible if they wanted to give an offer sheet to Matthew Knies at like a pretty high number?
Yeah, give it to me in the third highest tier. So not the 4 first round picks, not the 2 firsts. The
anything
1, 2,
between 3. What's currently, it'll change slightly, but the 6.8 to 9.1, those teams would be the Anaheim Ducks, Boston Bruins, Calgary Flames, Chicago Blackhawks, Detroit Red Wings, Los Angeles Kings, the Montreal Canadiens, the Nashville Predators, New Jersey Devils, Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, Seattle Kraken, and your Utah Mammoth.
I did wonder about the Kings.
Penguins would rock.
Yeah.
Also, like Penguins would rock because of the Dubas factor of it all. And I think for the Penguins, they should also be on the hunt for Mitch Marner. I think that the Chicago Blackhawks would be on the hunt for either one of those players as well. But like, again, the risk factor here for all of these like very bad teams, like the Penguins, like the Blackhawks, like the Bruins, there's risk that you're giving up your 2026 first round pick.
It's the McKenna pick. And I will remind people that the pick that turned into Kyrie Irving was like the 14th pick of the lottery. It was by a very the Cavaliers stunk that year, but it was just like a kind of throwaway pick they got at the deadline for moving a guy.
But that was because the NBA rigged it because LeBron left and they gave the pick to the Cavs.
That's probably true.
I feel it's important to point out that this is just based off of the picks. It doesn't necessarily take into account like cap space or anything like that. So
correct. As Bill Belichick famously said, cap space can be maneuvered in a number of ways. So we're just asking the question. Wonder what everybody's answer is. I know that people will do the like. Again, I'm not trying to be preachy, but there's one thing I learned from being a beat writer for kind of a long time. Never say never.
Right.
They're like, you idiot, it's not happening. It's probably not happening. It could happen. Dougie Hamilton was not going to fucking leave the Bruins. Oh, Dougie Hamilton's on the Bruins anymore. How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
These things.
They would never let him go.
Mikko Rantanen is not going to end up.
He's not going to get traded twice.
He's not going to end up in the Central Division. What are you talking about? Oh, he's Dallas Star by fucking season's end.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby's getting traded.
There's no way the Denver Nuggets are going to fire their coach and GM with 4 games remaining in the season.
There's no way Tyreek Hill is going to get in trouble.
There's no way Luka Doncic is going to get traded to the Los Angeles
The Luka
Lakers.
stuff last night broke my heart.
In what regard?
I don't really
Mavs
care
fans?
about any of that, and watching him sit and just cry made me feel bad.
Yeah, it's all a little sad.
You know what's sad? That Bauer makes so many good products that this isn't sad. It's actually a good thing. They make so many good products that they sell some of them at a discounted price, and you're thinking, why'd they sell them at a discounted price? I don't know. So you can have more of them? It's the best. We're always wearing Bauer. You see us wearing it on the set. I play on the set. I got my stick. I got my reactor dangler. It's probably making a ton of noise, but Bauer makes so many good products that we just cannot get enough of them. And we urge you to head over to the sales page, because on Bauer's sales page, you will find all sorts of stuff. I'm talking about 45% off select skates, up to 40% off select sticks, up to 25% off select protective equipment, and up to 70% off select apparel styles. They have something for everybody, whether you need stuff to play with or stuff to wear. Their clothing. We had Kim Robinson on yesterday, and he was wearing a quarter zip that I got myself. Comfortable as hell. So head to the Bauer sales page and use code FREESHIPWC. Shipping will be on us.
That's right. And also go to Timeline, because Timeline sells health and longevity supplements that feature their proprietary MitoPure ingredient. And you're saying, what is MitoPure? Well, it works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline, and the benefits include strength, energy, and endurance. And if you're like, I don't know, what's the research on this? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's 15 plus years of research and 30 plus US patents back Timeline's products.
Damn, they've been researching as long as the Sabres have been out of the playoffs.
You hate to see it.
Respect.
The cells in your body are the building blocks of life, so take care of them. Get more energy. Give yourself more endurance when you're working out. Feel stronger. Go to Timeline and get 10% off your order of MitoPure. That's timeline.com/chaos to get started. Timeline.com/chaos to get 10% off your order of MitoPure.
Okay, let's get to our featured guest, the great play-by-play announcer.
Color commentator.
I'm sorry, color commentator. Gross, disgusting, the disrespect. Frankie Corrado of TSN to discuss some Montreal Canadiens. Frankie, how are you?
What's going on, fellas? All good over here. You know what? Quite a compliment to think I can do play-by-play. Thank you.
No, listen, you are legitimately one of my favorite color guys in the league. You are rising up the ranks. Your work this year on TSN has been unbelievable, and also unbelievable, the Montreal Canadiens. Like, as a Bruins fan, it makes me feel disgusting down to my bones how excited I am about the Montreal Canadiens. Did you predict or see any of this happening this year for the Habs?
Not as quickly as it did happen. You know, there were points this season where it felt like the same old song and dance for Montreal. They started the season the worst defensive team in the NHL. And it wasn't even close. And then, they would show signs of kind of turning it around. And then, I go back, there was a game December 12th against Pittsburgh It's like 2-2 or 3-2 going into the third period, like a very attainable game. They let in 6 on home ice in the third period. And I'm like, well, they're right there. Like that's what they are at that point. And then it felt like from there on, they started to really turn things around. But the way they kind of have progressed and gotten to this point, it's been so impressive on so many different levels. I think from the coach, from the leadership guys, the young guys there, the goaltending, Lane Hudson, like there's been so many amazing stories with this group. And they came such a long way in such a short period of time, to the point where we were talking about, another top 5 pick. Who do you want to take? You want Misa? You want Martone? You want Hagens? Oh no, what if Matthew Schaefer is there and you have to draft another defenseman? You have too many. To now, is Washington kind of worried about the Habs in the first round? Or could the Habs catch the Ottawa Senators for the first wildcard spot? It's crazy, like what a turnaround it's been.
Does it feel like house money, or does it feel like an actual arrival? Because given the names that you said and like the young players that they have, I feel like this should feel like an arrival, and that this should be the first of however many years of reaching the postseason.
It's a good point, and I think it should be an arrival, but I think right now it does feel like house money, because not a lot of people would have expected them to make the playoffs at this point. So it's a pleasant surprise, and so I think you still keep that in mind. Because of how quickly they progressed. And I think, the Rangers having the season that they had, other teams around them that didn't quite, like Detroit didn't make the jump. Buffalo, we know where Buffalo is. So I think with all that being considered, the Habs are only going to get better. So you can see it as an arrival. But I think with the way things went around them and within the group, it still does feel like house money.
But do you feel like there's actual like potential upset written on this story here? Because like it does feel like the Canadiens, as exciting as they are, they're still a very imperfect team, and you can maybe back this up, but like it feels like they lead the league in winning games that they probably don't deserve to win, which is part of the excitement. Like, does that carry into the playoffs? Are they going to be exposed as a very flawed team, or is it kind of is there upset potential there?
They're not a perfect team. Like they lead the league in third period comeback wins this year. They're a resilient group. But, from wire to wire in a game, they have had a hard time kind of carrying the mail and kind of winning it from start to finish. So you go into the playoffs and you're like, okay, it's great that you can come back in different ways, but what happens when that dries up, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's something that people will have to keep in mind when they watch Montreal. For them to upset Washington, if that's who, they end up playing, like Washington, things would have to go pretty bad for Washington, whether it's like goaltending or not being able to find the emotional level that they had prior to Ovechkin, achieving what he achieved. You never want to count a team out, because I think the last time the Canadiens went to the finals, a lot of people had counted them out right off the bat. Playing against
literally
Toronto.
Had to eat
no one
a hat.
gave them a chance in that series, and then they went all the way to the final. So, I'm not going to say that there isn't upset potential, but there still is, the makings of a team that is not exactly like built perfectly for this. It's just something about this group where, whether it's like Montembeault having great stretches, or Hudson being unstoppable, or the first line taking over games, or just like they found ways to. They found ways to just keep themselves around in games and manage them without throwing it away, which is something they did last year. They're not a perfect team, but they'll be a difficult out for sure.
What worries me about the upset potential for the Canadiens is that their opponent is like the ultimate. You think you shouldn't be here? You think we were you think we thought we were going to win the President's Trophy? We were here to watch Alex Ovechkin score goals, and then every trade we made worked out. We're the ones playing with house money. You guys at least were in the Cup final a few years ago.
That's so true. That's why I'm praying to God that they get the Leafs, because it's the one. It's the one matchup where I could root for the Canadiens, and not feel super dirty about it. And I actually think that they could win that series.
Well, and think about this: like Ottawa and Montreal play tomorrow. If Montreal wins that game, they're only 1 point back of the Sens for the first wildcard spot. So there's a realistic chance it could happen. And, I think when it comes to Washington, like Spencer Carberry is probably going to be the coach of the year and deserves to be coach of the year. I think Marty St. Louis deserves to be right up there as well with what he's been able to do with the individuals on the team, the team collectively as a group, how far they've come in such a short period of time. And this is a guy that I think a lot of people were very skeptical of when he got the job because he hadn't coached anywhere in pro hockey before. It was just the great Martin St. Louis, who everyone knew was as intelligent and bright of a hockey mind as you could find, over the last however many years. Could he actually coach, though? And the answer is, like, the proof is there. Cole Caulfield last year had a terrible shooting percentage. He was like a 9% shooter. So what did Marty get him to do? He said, screw it, man. Just round out the rest of your game because next year you're going to score because you're not going to be a 9% shooter next year. Now he's a 16% shooter with 37 goals, and he plays a complete game on a first line that can go head-to-head against Barkov's line and win games, which we saw them sweep the season series against the Florida Panthers. Nick Suzuki's turned into a point-per-game player now. Lane Hudson is nothing short of I don't even know the word to use anymore, but it's been incredibly impressive. Slavkovsky's progression, using Line A in the right ways. Alex Newhook has really kind of found his niche. Like, you go up and down the roster and you're like, this guy, Marty St. Louis, his fingerprints are all over these players individually. And then you look at the group where at points this year, they're 8th in the Atlantic. You're counting them out. You're like, it's another top 5 pick. And they find a way to make the playoffs. So it'll be two, like, if that series happens, it's two of the the coaches of the year going head to head, as well as two of the nicest stories as far as the teams involved.
And I'll caution people, or I'll remind people, this isn't a slight to the Canadiens. It speaks more to Pete's point about how, like, the thing they're best at is winning because they're only top 10 in one category, and it's penalty kill, in which they are 10th. Like, they are middle of the pack or below in kind of a lot of the key things, and they just find ways to win games. So good on them. What do you do with Ivan Demidov once he arrives?
Oh, he's playing in the top 6. Like, he's playing on the second line for sure. There's been a bunch of floating vacancies on that line throughout the year, and that's where you would look at your roster and you say that's what makes it not a perfect lineup going into the playoffs. It's not a true second line the way it's currently constructed. Like Alex Newhook, when it's all said and done, if he's your third line center, chances are you're in a pretty good spot. But right now he's a second line center. And Patrick Laine, he's a second line guy. Like, you know how to use him. You don't expect too much from him 5-on-5. Let him get his cookies on the power play. That's fine. But Demidov is going to be playing, second line left wing, call it. And I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. And like it's really significant, this guy, because we talked about how Montreal has turned the corner here, and now they've arrived to the playoffs. Well, they're probably getting the most skilled guy of that entire group now. Like, he's more skilled. He's going to be more skilled than Suzuki and Caulfield and Slav, and Hudson's different because he's on the back end. But like, this is the big one for them. Like, this is getting Kirill Kaprizov essentially. It's pretty impressive what he's been able to do, and so I think as far as immediate impact, that remains to be seen because he's been playing in the KHL. There's cultural differences coming over. It takes you a little bit of time, but there's no doubt like he needs to play in the top 6 and play minutes for this team, and he's probably going to help them sooner rather than later.
I want to talk about Lane Hudson because, like, I saw Lane Hudson at BU. I loved him at BU. I thought that he was going to be an awesome player in the NHL. I did not expect him to be this good, this fast. What is the ceiling for Lane Hudson at this point? Because we've seen his rookie year eclipse some of like the best defensemen of a generation with guys like Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, all those guys. What's the ceiling for a guy like Lane?
I think we're going to be talking about him with those two guys for a long time, Makar and Quinn Hughes. As far as, can he be better than them? For sure. It's just, we're always going to talk about like, 1A, B, and maybe 1C now with this guy. I think he's that good. He's that special. He's such a workhorse. Like, he doesn't take a day off at all. Like, every optional he's on. Every time they give him a mandatory day off, he goes on the ice. Like, it's crazy. This guy lives for hockey. He's like a hockey playing machine. And I think his progression this year has been really impressive because when he first started, it felt like he was trying to score a goal or make something of some kind of substance happen every single time he had the puck. And I don't think he was calculating that risk correctly. And there were times where, the clips would go online and you would see people saying, look at this, like trying to do too much or defensive liability. But as time went on, like he started to get a feel for, when you take the risk, when you just do the simple play. Like I'll equate it to music and like a guitar player, right? Like you want to have a guitar solo in every song, but the love ballad, you can't just start shredding and go nuts because it doesn't work. It doesn't sound right. And so Lane Hudson has realized when it's a love ballad and when it's time to shred and go crazy. And so that's been the biggest thing that you've seen out of him, just picking and choosing his spots better. And no one can seem to get a hold of him. Like I've seen some really good players think they have him or get fooled by one of his, shoulder fakes or his head fakes. And you're like, man, like how do they keep falling for it? It's pretty impressive, but he's added so much to that group as far as his ability to create high danger chances, scoring chances that just weren't there. They weren't available to this team in the past, and like single-handedly transformed, the offensive production from this team. It's unbelievable. And, they always talk about 200 games for a defenseman to figure it out. Like what he's at 70 something
74?
or 80 something. It's like, he's figured it out. Like it took the guy less than 80 games to really figure out how the league works.
I also feel like that the 200 games thing is an outdated ideology, like not specifically just with Lane Hudson. Younger defensemen are coming into the league and having, like, they're definitely not perfect players, but they're having immediate impacts now, especially like the top of the class guys. I just feel like 200 games is like, I've seen so many guys with under 200 games that are better than like the grizzled vets that are supposed to be better than them.
You know what the 200 games thing is? It's like, first of all, no one guarantees you 200 games, but it's like, once you get there, is that what you are? Or are you getting any better at that point? And it's like, okay, we've seen him for 200 games, and it's like he probably plateaued at game 120, and now he's been the same thing for the last 80 games, and we know what he is. I think with Lane Hudson, we know what he is. We know we almost don't really know what he's gonna be because the sky's the limit, but he figured it out, incredibly quickly, and progressed so much. Yeah, it's been amazing to watch him night after night.
I think it was Denny Potvin who came up with that, the 200 games thing. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I was doing a story on Dougie Hamilton a million years ago, and I spoke to him for it because he was coming up on whatever that number was. Even at the time, this was probably like 2014, 2015 or something, and he was like, oh no, like that's wrong now. Like guys can just come in and make an impact.
Well, I mean, we had the discussion yesterday about Colby Armstrong's point about how like wingers who are really good defensively should now start getting real Selke consideration because of the defensemen.
They have to take care of the defensemen,
right? Who are coming up the wings. So like the game has just changed.
Yeah, it has. And you know what? We're not that far away. I think with the Selke though, it's like we had the Kopitar years, and it's almost like we're just going to have the Barkov years, like we had the Bergeron years. It's almost like someone's going to have to do something or get known for something on such a high level to like snag it away from Barkov at this point. And it felt the same with Bergeron and Kopitar. But you're right. Like it is changing. Hudson's so involved in the play. He's so good at getting up the ice, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how competitive he is. Like so many times this year, we have seen him go up against guys that are 6'2", 6'3", 210 pounds, and he's got this way of maneuvering like through their arms. So he'll kind of lead with his stick. He's fast, like he's really quick. So he'll cut at the last second right through your arms. Then the big guys, they get handcuffed. And then next thing you know, he's so quick at turning and he's so agile, he's got the puck and he's going the other way. And you're like, he did it again. Like, whether it was, Rantanen, I saw him do it to him. Like, there's just so many examples. It's hard to name like the individual ones. He's done it so often this year, but that's where I think he's almost underrated. If you can think of a way or an area, Lane Hudson is underrated. It's that way, just finding ways to win battles against guys that are bigger and stronger, which is basically the whole league.
Frankie Corrado, your analogy on Lane Hudson and the kind of serving the song really spoke to me, because the best guitar players do that. They're not just there to scream the whole time. Don Felder, I'm talking about just showing up, playing the song well, and when it's your time to shine, you shine. But you got to know, there's electric piano going on. There's other things that need to happen for your solo to really hit when it's your time. So you're amazing at what you do, Frankie. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it. Big fan of both of you. Thank you.
Last thing I actually should know, like, you're going to be doing playoff games in Montreal. I was saying to these guys before the show the other day, and people are going to get mad at me, I've been to cup final games in like key Canadian cities, and they don't always match the atmosphere of a first round Montreal Canadiens series. Like, they get crazy in that building.
It's, you know what it is in Montreal? The fans show so much initiative. Like the game we just did on Tuesday, they're getting worked by the Wings. And then there's moments in the first and second period where they're getting worked, and you're like, you can feel the fan buzz start to pick up. It's like they realize what's going on, and it's like collectively as a group, they're like, okay, the boys need us. So let's get something going in here. Let's get some cheers. And then the fans wanted it so bad. There was a 1-goal lead with like just a few minutes left in the period, and they started going Olé. And you're like, these guys are going Olé. They wanted it so bad. They started the Olé with a 1-goal lead, like a couple minutes left in the third. All they want to do is cheer, man. They show so much initiative, and it's such a fun building. It's the best office in the NHL, and I'm so grateful to be there.
It makes Pete sick because that's also fucking lovable, isn't it?
It is. And I mean, like, the serving the song thing kind of applies to the pregame ceremony in Montreal too, where it's like, they're not telling you to get on your feet and scream. They're not playing like this hard amp up music. They're turning the lights out and playing the fucking Coldplay song that for some reason just gives me goosebumps down to the bones. It is unbelievable, the atmosphere up there. So it does. It makes me sick.
It's all right. Hey, Bruins need a high pick, so they're going to get what they need. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Bruins are very good. I have too many friends that are Bruins fans, to be honest with you. So I grew up in Toronto, live in Toronto, and, have to hear it all the time, played for the Leafs. So I've taken my lumps from many a Bruins fan over the years. So it's just a little bit of a down year for you guys. You'll be back before you know it.
Respectfully, I've also been to first-round Maple Leafs games, and the atmosphere doesn't quite get there for just a lot of like,
that could be
what are we doing here, and dread. But Frank, thank you so much for joining us. We would love to have you on just a million more times because you're so good at what you do.
Thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
All right, that's the great Frankie Corrado. And someone in the chat asked, was that Edmonton shade? No. Not shaded Edmonton. The atmosphere in Vancouver for the Cup final was like, oh my God, blowing you away. And I still don't know that really gets to what Montreal does. And the atmosphere in Edmonton, obviously amazing and like the best, the height of what you want to be. Montreal does kind of have its own thing, though. And that's not like a better or worse, but that is like where are you right now based on what's going on and based on the goosebumps on your arms? You're like, am I in Montreal for a playoff game?
I went to a December game against the Detroit Red Wings. That really didn't mean a whole lot. And like the Canadiens weren't amazing at the time. And it takes a lot for me, who's been to a bunch of different buildings, to be like, holy shit, this is different. This is special. This is crazy. And the ceremony of the pregame in Montreal is truly unbelievable. And that building is just mammoth.
Yeah. Let's have a little merch moment. The Colorado Eagles are, and you ask, why are you talking about the Colorado Eagles? What do you not know? What do you not know about the conditioning stint heard around the world? Gabriel Landeskog, who's actually out with an injury right now for the Avalanche.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's missed time.
Oh, that stinks.
He's missed 13 of the last 14 games and the 14th one in there and all of the games.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
he is week to week.
He's been week to week for years and has a conditioning stint with the Colorado Eagles. We're all very excited about that. The Eagles are going to sell Gabriel Landeskog jerseys, or at least give you the opportunity to get a custom job there, and you get your I was at the conditioning stint jersey. Sean, could you flash what the Colorado Eagles uniforms look like? They're terrible. That's a terrible jersey. It's a bad jersey. Behavior on getting a conditioning stint jersey.
I'd love it. Absolutely. Especially for Gabe Landeskog.
I was a heavy minor league baseball game attender back in the day where if a player was on a conditioning stint and I could go see, I mean, even before they got called up or whatever, it was like, hey, John Papelbon, which is what we called him. We didn't know that it was Jonathan yet. John Papelbon is pitching for the Paw Sox. You want to go? Yes.
You're preaching to the choir there. I went to Buffalo Bison's games. First off, I have a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Buffalo Bison's jersey.
So does my friend Al.
In AAA. But I also saw
that's not a conditioning stint.
No, but I also saw the most expensive minor league baseball team of all time, the Pawtucket Red Sox, when they had Rusney Castillo, and then they had Brock Holt, Pablo Sandoval, and David Price all on rehab stints, and I got to see them play the Bisons. I also got to see like Jose Reyes and stuff like that with the Bisons.
So the only thing cooler than seeing like an up and coming prospect in minor league baseball is seeing the already established star who's working his way back to the major league club and playing. Like I remember Nomar played for like the Paw Sox for like a couple weeks. That is way cooler. You're seeing an established star play against minor league players. That rocks.
It does rock.
Absolutely. Go crazy on. And like Gabe Landeskog, the talk about the return has been years in the making at this point. If you get to commemorate like the start of the return, fucking do that.
My first like real-ish beat was something I kind of forced. I was interning during college, and I was like, hey, can I go to the Paw Sox games when John Smoltz pitches and just kind of, or when Clay Buchholz pitches, and I'll just go and do stuff on here's how Clay Buchholz is doing in the minors, because if I didn't have that internship, that's what I would have been doing with my friends anyway. We would have just been going to the minor league baseball games to see John Smoltz for $10. That shit rules. So that jersey stinks, but the behavior of going and getting a jersey of that player, amazing. So go do it, even if it looks bad. Whatever. Bad jerseys are jerseys too. They need love. The Blues are doing a fan appreciation sale. They're giving you, you can buy jerseys for $79. What's that?
That's a crazy deal.
Oh, whoa.
Why is that such a good deal?
Oh, it's because it's the old stock. It's the Adidas jerseys.
Which like isn't bad behavior in itself. Like the Adidas jersey is still good. They still have the same template.
Yeah.
It's liquidating that stock is not bad behavior. What makes it bad behavior is that it's part of a quote unquote fan appreciation night.
Yeah.
Like or fan appreciation sale. You are like liquidating your garbage that you are trying to get rid of and masquerading it around as, hey, we appreciate you. You're regifting.
Yes, exactly. Bad behavior by the St. Louis Blues, but who are they to ever do bad behavior? The Capitals are doing tonight, they're doing towels at the game, and they are Ovi jumping on his belly towels.
Good ass towels.
Amazing towel. Thank you, Steve Wino, for taking that picture. I mean, you got to remember, people paid $1 bajillion for tickets to this game.
True. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you better be giving them something.
Those are good towels. Those are awesome towels. I only wish they were I wish they were red.
Yeah.
Because it's a white jersey on white towel. But that's a good commemorative towel.
Speaking of the Capitals, snooze you lose on the Screaming Eagle jersey. I wanted the PLD, Screaming Eagle. I was beaten to the punch by Juicy J, who posted, look at this. Look at this Juicy J. Oh, that looks so good. The Juicy J Screaming Eagle.
It looks so good. It looks so good, in fact, that it convinced me to also beat you to the punch. I have bought a Ryan Leonard black Screaming Eagle jersey. I am so excited. And not only that, I have officially locked in my one future for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I am on the Washington Capitals winning the Stanley Cup train.
Not to take credit for this, but can you imagine if at the beginning of the season, when we were doing our Capitals talks, if you were to be like, that's going to be my pick, you would wonder if it was a bit or what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the Washington Capitals, at the sixth best odds, tied for the sixth best odds,
most consistent team this year. The vibes are immaculate. There are so many logical reasons to push back against them being the Stanley Cup champions, and we won't run down the list, but there are plenty of reasons. I don't give a shit. I think that the Caps are just so fun this year, and the Ryan Leonard of it all, the Ovechkin of it all, the weirdness of it all, I'm just going to choose to ride with them. May as well.
Love the behavior. Sean, what say you?
About the choosing the Capitals?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but I don't have a problem with you making that bet. I said I'm riding with the Avs and the Maple Leafs to a lesser extent.
I think that anyone can win the Stanley Cup this year, basically.
Agree.
So why not ride with the most fun?
Because
there's one team I can promise you is not going to win the Stanley Cup, which means we should probably bet on them right now.
The Minnesota Wild?
Minnesota Wild.
The team that we famously
didn't. Suddenly dangerous again.
And the team, like you saying that, suggests that they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Exactly. So that like I'm going to go bet them right now.
Yeah. The Capitals just seem like the perfect team to crash and burn. Like they seem, outside of like the Leafs of it all, I don't think there is a team that has all of like the intangible makings of a team that crashes and burns in the first round, quite like the Washington Capitals.
Okay, I showed you the bear towel that was sent by the Utah Hockey Club, aka Clubbers Till We Die.
By the way, Utah Hockey Club news: Karel Vejmelka, 22nd straight start for the Utah Hockey Club.
STHART. Heart.
You started with an S?
ST.
I just wonder.
I thought you said SHART, and I'm like, that spells something different.
She said, at one point, does the backup goalie say,
what do you say, fuck me for?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
The second that did they get mathematically eliminated last night?
Yes, they're out.
Then, yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, what the fuck are they doing?
I mean, I wonder if Vejmelka's at a certain point is also like, what do they say fuck me for? I'd like a day off.
No, it's the best. So got the Utah Hockey Club towel and have discussed how great they have been with giving the patches to the fans. It's amazing. Recently, we discussed a plaque that they were selling in which they put 6 pucks for the games against original 6 teams, and it just said Utah Hockey Club Original 6. We had a lot of questions. We did a segment with Cole Bagley, who came on and explained them to us. It drew the ire, all of that, of a Utah Hockey Club fan who is a celebrity fan named at Gangrene Utes fan.
He needs a better name.
I wouldn't change much about this guy.
He needs a better moniker.
Gangrene only just when I read it at first, I thought Glassbanger instantly. I thought Stars.
Oh, true. But this person posted a video last week, really upset that we were besmirching this item. He was a purchaser of the item. It arrived, so he sent. Are we going to play both videos?
Yeah, we can.
He sent videos to each of our Twitters. Let's kick it off, Sean.
Do you have which one of your videos you want to start with?
Yeah, start with the DJ one because that was the initial one.
Okay.
Wow, this one goes out to Mr. Bean, or Bean this, Chaos this, fucking that. Hey, look what I have. You know what I got on. The original 6, we're not trying to be a part of them. These are just cool reproduction pucks of the games. Pucks, $20-$25, even if they make them enough. We didn't make them enough to fit that time. It's limited. $250, I got 62. You know. What'd you spend your $160 on tonight, Bean? Fucking a blub down in the mail? I mean, come on now. Let's go, Utah. Promising. We just got it over. God bless the Arizona fans. You lost your team. Sorry you had a piece of shit owner. We got Ryan Smith. Fucking, this is your guy. Come on. You guys want to cut on this, even say Peter, whatever? Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on. Invite me on. Let me defend it. Let's go, Utah. Don't want to see us next year, boys.
Okay, I didn't even finish the video when he sent it to me. I just quote tweeted with, "It's pimp."
It's definitely pimp. This guy's
the Utah Utes Rose Bowl T-shirt.
He wants us to invite him on the show. I want to save the content with him until we meet him. Like, I want to find out everything about this guy's life. Yeah, and I'm so fascinated with this guy. I love him. He rocks. Love his energy. He like 20%. Like, I don't know, like 60% hates us. Yeah, 40% is having some fun, and I love that.
The most important part is that he has a cigarette in his hand as he's doing it, and I like that there's there's a little Tim Robinson to it, where there's the kind of adamant explaining of what it is, where he's like, and it's got original six, and we're not trying to be part of the original six.
These are reproduction pucks. They're not real pucks. Like, yeah, we got the whole thing.
And then there's just like few less confident, like, it's nice, right? He's great. He'll send a video to Pete that I have not seen. Let's see it.
Yo, Peter Blackburn, man, I used to listen to you with, I think it was Schulte, like, fuck, guys, it's got to be 15 years ago when I had to work Sundays. But, cook his ass. Fucking cook his ass, Peter Blackburn. How much have you predicted right? You've been on the goddamn radio. And I know you in quotation love this guy. I love you too, motherfucker. Let's fucking go. Here's a crushie for you, Peter Blackburn. It's only half a beer real quick. We'll pound it and crush it. Yeah! Crush this guy! Peter Blackburn. Chaos Compass, whatever you are. It's a beautiful...
No idea what's happening there. He said that he knew me from like 15 years ago on the radio. I have no idea what he's talking about. Schulte, respectfully, I don't think that I've ever worked with a guy named Schulte, but I love this guy so much.
If you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
That's true.
So that's true. You might have the wrong guy, but that's an impressive man. He's Sean didn't want us to bring Pimp back. We're left with no other options once this man gets.
That man is the ambassador of Pimp.
I have had several people message me privately telling me that they agree with my take about Pimp. By the way,
Apollonius makes a good point. Loves Pete, hates DJ, even though they both jumped on the thing, the same thing that brought this whole thing to light. Is so funny.
Yeah, I also didn't understand that part. Is why
I don't get the. Maybe I'm misreading it. I'm not getting a lot of hate off the guy.
I think that it's playful hate.
I said before the show.
When you spend your money on, he mainly has an issue that I thought it was overpriced, but I don't even remember saying that. I just remember thinking it was a crazy item.
Unintentional disrespect, maybe. But yeah, I don't think he hates you guys.
Respectfully, I do not feel disrespected by this person. Or my feelings certainly are not hurt.
He's the best.
Let's get to a slate grade. Let's first do some super chats. From Clubber Still We Die, Utah is officially out, but Sojo is cooking DJ. So W. Okay, so maybe he is cooking me. I'm deeply hurt. Spencer says, watch you guys every day. You guys are the best.
Best part about that super chat is that it came during the Matthew Knies discussion in which we were absolutely cooking. People are going to be so mad about that video when it gets put out, but I am so happy that it went the way that it did.
Yes. Circling Back is bringing Pimp back, apparently. We'll have to check in on that, but let's do a slate grade. Sean, you can throw it up. We have 10 games. The Blackhawks at the Bruins, 7 p.m. Eastern. That is a Taylor Hall Bowl. The Red Wings at the Panthers, 7 p.m. Eastern. That is a Vladimir Tarasenko Bowl.
Revenge game.
Vladimir Tarasenko revenge game?
Is it not?
Yes,
it is. Not on the Panthers last week?
Yeah, yes, it is. It is.
Yep. Sabres at the Blue Jackets, 7 p.m. Eastern. That would be a, Sean, can you give me one?
That would be a please don't let Kent Johnson embarrass us again bowl.
Okay, very good.
Otherwise, I feel like we had this a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Hurricanes at Capitals, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That is very easily a Dmitry Orlov Bowl. It is also Yeah, we'll just say it's a Dmitry Orlov Bowl. Rangers at the Islanders, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's a Anthony Duclair Bowl because he used to play for both of those teams. The Jets at the Stars at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a real bummer. Canucks at Avalanche, 9 p.m. Eastern. Predators at Utah Hockey Club, 9 p.m. You got the Kraken at the Golden Knights at 10. Same time as Ducks at Kings at 10. I will say that the Ducks at Kings is the tuck for sure. And I am loving watching the Ducks play seemingly every night. This is their third in 4 nights, and they can be real disruptors. Let's see if they do it when they travel to LA. It's a very far drive.
Yeah, the chat points out Hurricanes Capitals is an Evgeny Kuznetsov Bowl, which is a very interesting one. Also, it is the revenge game from the last time that they met, which was an absolute disaster. That was
I think someone in the chat earlier referred to this as WrestleMania 2.
Oh yeah, I am excited for this. This is the oops all everybody's trying to kill each other bowl.
For the record, there is no bowl in Predators Utah Hockey Club.
This would be, by the way, oh no, would it be? Yes, I think it is. Jets at Stars is a Johnny Oduya Bowl. I think that he was with them when they moved.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a Thrasher, but I believe he was also a Jet. So we got that there. Yeah, the games aren't good.
Worth pointing out, tonight is the start of the Frozen Four.
Yes.
So that 2 Frozen Four games tonight, plus Hurricanes Capitals is enough for me.
Okay, yeah, Hurricanes Capitals. That's kind of the
Jet Stars is worth keeping an eye on too.
Oh, Jet Stars is a big one because the Stars were trying to catch the Jets, and what are they now? They cannot be as close. Are they 4 points back? Let's see. The Stars are, 4 points back of the Winnipeg Jets with 4 games remaining. So if the Stars can win this game, they're within 2, and they would not have the time. It doesn't matter. They're not catching them.
Catherine beat me to it. Sabres Blue Jackets is a Thomas Vanek Bowl. Also next year, Predators Utah Hockey Club will be a
Steven Stamkos Bowl.
I was going to say a prehistoric creature bowl.
Predators Mammoth,
tusked prehistoric creature bowl.
Good call.
Tusk Bowl. Tusks up.
Elisa, noted Kings fan, says that the Ducks and Kings is always a good one. A freeway face-off is what they call that. Pretty good.
Well, Ducks have just been injecting wild shit into their games recently.
Ducks are the last carriers of the chaos.
Yeah.
I think that history will remember the 2024-25 Ducks as being a team that went down fucking around.
Yeah, definitely.
Went down kind of trying to kill people. And that's from their leader on down. Okay. Thank you to everybody who has watched this show. Thank you to Frankie Corrado. I feel very stupid for misidentifying him as the play-by-play guy. He is, of course, the color commentator. And just, as you said, Pete, one of the great minds. Mm-hmm. Just a real mensch. Thanks to him for joining. Thanks to the Gangrene Utes fan for sending us the 2 very nice and friendly videos. People in the chat saying spokes up. # spokes up. Yes, we didn't do enough Spoke City talk today, but we did a little bit on Felger and Maz yesterday if you want to check that out. Pete, tell the folks what to do.
I would love to. Before you get out of here, please subscribe everywhere you can. That includes YouTube. That includes all podcast platforms. If you like today's episode, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button right below the video player. Also, a reminder that this is the official 1 week call until the end of the NHL regular season. The NHL regular season ends a week from today, and that means next week is our final week doing 4 shows per week. We will move to 5 shows a week throughout the playoffs, Monday through Friday. So it's a good time to get on board. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe everywhere you can. Give us 5 stars. Give us your support, and we will give you all the content you can handle.
Follow us on Instagram right now. Take 1 second, go on Instagram, find What Chaos Show, smash that button, share stuff as we post it. If you like it, do that. I did mean to note that when the playoffs start, I'm sure we'll do some sort of watch party for the first game or whatever like we did last year. You getting the Ryan Leonard jersey really fucked me because I wanted to... I have to get you a gift because you got me the amazing commissioned Zach Hyman goal chart that he has since signed. So really one of my favorite pieces. I was going to get you something, and it was, Ryan Leonard jersey was probably a leader in the clubhouse. So now I've got to go back to the drawing board. If people have suggestions, I'm open to them. DMs are open. We're going to cook up something for Pete. So make sure you're subscribed everywhere so you can see that as it comes. And we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.